Okay, so spring is about to be upon us, and some of you have already noticed that probably you're having a little bit more allergy symptoms than normal, okay? So it's very common this time of year, especially as all the trees start releasing lots of different things, and a lot of people tend to have this as the worst time of year for them. And not just for allergies, but also for asthma, because those tend to run in a pack together, okay? And some people even have a little bit of eczema flares too during this time as well. So the name of the game is, of course, avoidance. However, it's really hard to avoid pollen that's floating around everywhere. So making sure that your symptoms are well controlled, whether it be allergies with things like oral antihistamines or nasal steroid sprays. And usually the bigger the kid is, the more likely they're gonna need to have that nasal spray, okay? Because with oral antihistamines, they help some, but they don't necessarily fully cover the picture. But those little itty bitty kids usually do pretty well with just the oral antihistamines. And then in terms of asthma, make sure you're up to date on your asthma check so you have all your albuterol that you need. And also make sure that if you are having a really bad asthma flare, like you're working extra hard to breathe, you're wheezing more, you're short of breath more often, you're using albuterol more than a couple times a week, then make sure you get in to be checked and make sure you're not having a true asthma flare that you need steroids for, okay? And then for your eczema, make sure that we're not having constant flares that aren't going away with just regular moisturization and regular preventative care. Make sure you're not having to use steroids constantly all the time to keep it at bay. That way we're not constantly having to expose ourselves to steroids either for eczema or for allergies or for asthma or anything like that. So again, the ideal thing to do is to avoid if we can, but since there's pollen everywhere, not a whole lot we can do there other than maybe having extra filters in our house and things like that. But the main thing to do is make sure that we're staying on top of our preventative care, unless of course you're fine having stuffy noses and wheezing a little bit, which I'm assuming you're probably not okay with.